Testing, testing.
You're good? Okay. All right, Sean will introduce you, and then
It is Donovan, right?
Donovan.
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2. Am I on? Hello? Hello? Here we go. It's really weird hearing my own voice. Are we ready? I don't even know where to go. It's like speakers everywhere. All right. My name is Jeremiah. Thank you all for coming to our last event of Cooking with Friends. It's been a great pleasure and an honor for our church and our community here to host this for the rest of our community here. I think we've been going since January, a couple snow days here and there. We were scheduled originally for 7 events, but we had such a great success that we went ahead and wanted to do an 8th event. Tonight we have a special presenter, Keith Donovan, who has basically been living this lifestyle for quite some time. And it's kind of hap chance that I ran across Keith. I met him through my friend and fellow church member Sean at his workshop, and we were just talking one day, and we just started clicking, and you start to hear certain things, and it was like, oh, you're a whole foods plant-based diet guy too, and you just kind of start working into this. And so since then, he has agreed to come here and do a presentation for us tonight. So I will turn it over to Keith, and I want to thank you very much for being here. So
Thank you, Jeremiah. Does it sound okay? Okay. Appreciate everyone coming out today. I've got an interesting meal planned for you, a kale salad that's a little bit spicy and has some avocado, lemon juice, and tahini, other ingredients. And some great tortillas that we'll be grilling up and adding a hummus dish, which is made from chickpeas, and tahini actually goes in the chickpea dish to make the hummus. So I hope you like it. I'll give a little more background about myself. I'm 62 years old, or young, and as Jeremiah said, I've been leaning towards a healthy diet for most of my adult life. I ate the standard American diet growing up. In college, I read a nutrition book and at least learned enough to stop eliminating these ingredients from packaged foods and so forth that were known carcinogens. And so one day my roommate and I loaded all of these Jiffy mixes for pancakes and all these things that had BHA and BHT and all this other stuff that's probably banned now out into the hallway, and other students gladly came down and collected it and took it back to their dorm. But that was kind of my start, and I graduated in 1983 with a degree in mechanical engineering from North Carolina State, and I've worked a lot of different jobs, started my career at Westinghouse, actually it was during the Cold War, and was doing engineering-related modeling for the missile launching system for the MX missile program. Not exactly what I'm proud of or anything, but fortunately none of that had to get used. And after only a year and a half of that, I went back from California to North Carolina, and complete change of work, doing an industrial job. And after 3 years, I was really interested in the outdoors and got completely enamored with mountain climbing. So after 3 years of working in North Carolina, I quit my job and I moved to Montana to do some volunteer work for an outfit called the Wilderness Treatment Center that took young kids that had drug and alcohol problems on outward bound type trips into the true wilderness. And And so I was the wilderness guide to take them on these 2-week wilderness trips, and there were, pretty extreme conditions. Even though it was spring in April, spring in Montana is still very much winter. And so I did that, and then I got affiliated with this group called NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School, and I had signed up to do a 30-day mountaineering expedition into British Columbia to climb Mount Waddington, which is, there's no trails, it's all bushwhacking to get in, and then you're on glacier for 20 days, and you have a brief window to try to climb the highest mountain in British Columbia, Mount Waddington, which we did successfully, the North Summit. And that whole experience got me also leaning towards a plant-based diet, because when you are out in the wilderness, the National Outdoor Leadership School promotes not all of these packaged backpacker kits, but cooking with staple foods. So we had brown rice, we had pinto beans, and all these different ingredients, spice kits with all these different things, and pressure cookers, because when you're at altitude, it's very hard to cook in a regular pot, and plus you only have so much fuel to cook with. So that got me, after coming back from that, even more leaning towards healthy eating. And so fast forward to about 2015, I went from being a vegetarian, consuming cheese, was mostly the only dairy. I never did like drinking milk that I ever consumed, but I also had some chicken and fish. I had pretty much not ever eaten red meat from the time of about 1988, when I was doing this wilderness stuff. So I went on all in, and I got to tell you that my health improved dramatically. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I'm involved in sales, technical sales, so I have to go take customers out, and sometimes that gets difficult to manage what they want to eat and what you want to eat, and they're the customer, so they rule. And so early on, I broke some of my rules to try to treat the customer properly as far as what we were eating. But that all stopped in 2015 after I adopted this whole food plant-based diet, after reading the China Study book by T. Colin Campbell, and then How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger, and then there's just a multitude of other great books, and I'll show you some in my presentation later. And so when I adopted this diet, the pounds that I had been carrying along, I had about 15 to 20 pounds of excess weight, just melted off. I ate as much as I wanted to, but by eliminating the cheese and all of the other animal products and any processed foods, getting rid of all of the potato chips and any things like that, and eating whole plant foods, my inflammation went away. I had elbows that was hard to throw a baseball or a football, and that all melted away. And I was already running, but I noticed that my endurance improved, and because, as you'll see, as you adopt this diet, your arteries begin to open back up, which is an amazing thing. And so I've given this talk now. This is the third time, and each time I've modified it a little bit. So I gave a talk to my brother's church in Greensboro, the First Presbyterian Church, and then I gave the talk to my a group at Munters where I work, and now here I am to deliver this talk to you one more time. So what I'm going to be cooking is I'll start with the kale salad. And so the kale actually is right out of my greenhouse. It's all organic. And I'm going to just kind of get started here. So you're just chopping kale, and we're going to add lemon juice, fresh lemon juice to it. So I'm going to squeeze some lemons in here and kind of drop it down in here so it doesn't spray. But for a big batch like this, it'll take about 3 lemons. Three whole lemons. Oops. Okay. And the next ingredient is a spice that I love. It's chipotle peppers, which are smoked jalapenos, dried, and I sprinkle a little of this on here. So this is what really gives it a great flavor. And then I'll put some gloves on. That's a great question. The question is, where do I find my ingredients? And so this is just ordered from Amazon. Another great resource is Vitacost. That's a Kroger company, but I think they're in North Carolina, and they have a lot of healthy foods. They have a lot of vitamins and stuff too. But great. Resource, and they run these 20% off sales, and that's the time to wait.
So you order Vitacost online?
Order Vitacost online, and so we order like a lot of our whole ingredients, buckwheat groats and spices. By the way, they sell this stuff, I think, in Kroger, but it's in this little container, and it's super expensive. You will save yourself a bundle by buying spices in bulk. So ginger, I eat a ton of ginger, so I buy these big pound bags. It's so much less costly. And basically all the spices we use, we buy in bulk, and then we just kind of pour it into these glass jars to use as we need to. The next ingredient is a little of this sesame oil. And this is a toasted sesame oil, and it's kind of a drizzle. This is a pretty big bowl, but not too much. And then a couple of tablespoons of sesame seeds.
If y'all have any questions, hold your hand up, and they'll bring a mic to you so we can get an online presentation here. So, Mark?
And the last ingredient is just a little bit of avocado.
I have a comment. My wife's bugging me here. She says, tell them about Azure Standard. So we order a lot of bulk foods from Azure Standard. Is that something you've heard of?
I haven't.
Yeah, we found that to be quite effective. And then they deliver here in the county. They have a drop out by Carrs Creek, which is rather new. So it's convenient.
So are they a Virginia company?
They're a Washington company, isn't it? Washington?
Yeah.
Washington State?
Yes, Washington State, and they deliver in a huge truck, and you can go out there and pick up your bulk orders, and it's
You
quite...
get like 25 pounds of beans. Like, You can get bulk grains and beans and spices. All that good
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, so most of you probably know kale is one of those superfoods that's high in vitamin K, and it's, in terms of nutrients per calorie of food, it's at the top of the scale. So it's referred to as one of those nutrient-dense foods. And a lot of the vitamins, the uptake is improved by the oil that you put on here, and the avocado. So fat actually improves the nutrient absorption into your body when you add that with leafy greens. So that's pretty much it. Give it all a good stir, and you'll get a chance to sample it here in a little bit. And I think kale is not at the top of everybody's list for considering a tasty food, but I think when you try this, your opinion of kale hopefully will improve a notch. Okay, that's that. And from here, the chickpeas, so we started the chickpeas when I got here in this Instapot. And so this has about 3 pounds actually of chickpeas. And it, at pressure, 40 minutes.
So I have a question. So there's avocado in the salad, correct? So
And the salad.
So do we put that, do you wait and put that in when you're ready to serve, or is it okay to put that in now?
I already put it in.
Okay, avocado's in there?
Avocado's in there.
Beautiful, sweet.
Yep. So under pressure, 40 minutes. It takes time for it to get to pressure, and then you have to let it drop on its own accord, and it hasn't yet dropped. So at this point, I think I'm going to fire up this grill and start doing tortillas. Yes.
How do you get your chickpeas? I've never seen chickpeas in any other form than in a can. How do they come when you do chickpeas?
Dry. I get them dried.
Okay, because I've never even seen those in the store before like that.
Just
So
go
it's
to where the dried beans are. They're right beside the pinto beans and the black beans and all the other legumes.
Okay, and you just pressure cook them like any other bean?
40 minutes. Anybody that wants, I mean, I can, there's a great book called Vegan Under Pressure that has, but there's many books about pressure cooking that'll have a table, for black beans it's 18 minutes, and for pintos it's so many minutes, but for chickpeas they're really hard and it takes 40 minutes. They're one of the longest out there, and so yeah. And they're also called garbanzo beans. Yeah, garbanzo beans. It's a great Mediterranean thing. They're used in lots of dishes. Okay, so with this, I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of this avocado oil on this. Oops, more than I wanted, but and then I use a glove to spread it out. I can usually do it easier than any other method, as you'll see. You can kind of move it around to get, and this is a one-time thing. So I'm just kind of lubricating it once to do all of these tortillas, and once is good enough to keep them from sticking. As I was telling some other folks back, if you were in Mexico and we were doing these from hand, they actually take some of the lime when you're making tortillas from scratch. You soak the whole corn kernels with lime overnight, and then you grind all of that. But so you've got that, and it's just pickling lime. And pickling lime in a little water over the pan, and if you heat it up, the water boils off, and there's a thin film of that lime mineral left, which is a great coating to keep the tortillas from sticking. So, and then I'm going to fire this up to about 350 degrees and let this do its thing. These are, I'm kind of a tortilla aficionado. I love good tortillas. And these, it's called El Milagro brand, and they're made in factories around the U.S., usually where there's a high Latino concentration. These came from Chicago. So I ordered them from Amazon, ordered 25 dozen. And they're reasonably priced, you know, like $35 for 25 dozen of these tortillas. And the only ingredients are corn, water, and lime. No salt, no other additives.
Keith,
and
Keith,
so
can you hold that to that camera on your left there? Just under the camera, over the kale. Yeah, just so home people can see it.
Yeah, and it's non-GMO corn. I've never found any that are organic, but it's as good as I've been able to find. So you can buy these also sometimes at Latino grocery stores, and they're refrigerated. So these aren't things that you find on the shelf. They have to be kept refrigerated because there's no preservatives in them. And the problem with the Latino grocery stores is they've been sitting in the freezer or the fridge for a long time, and sometimes they're moldy and so forth. So I found that now that you can order them online, they usually come in pretty good shape. Haven't tried it during the middle of the summer yet when temperatures are going to be a little higher, but so far they've worked out well. So I'm waiting for this to get a little warm, and then what you do is you just grill them for about 1 minute per side. And I'm going to need a plate to put these on, and that towel, one of those towels, please. So start placing these on here. Thank you. And about a minute per side before you flip them.
Does anyone have a testimony that they would like to share, a short testimony about how eating plant-based has sort of improved or changed or anything like that that you'd like to pass sort of in between?
Neil?
Yeah, my name's Neil. Can you hear me?
No,
Can you hear me now?
not yet.
Yep.
There
we go. Okay. My name's Neil. I work with Keith, and I was privileged to go through the second presentation that he did, and it was pretty good. And I did Weight Watchers for like 2 years, and I lost like 15 pounds. And my wife and I started this vegan journey back in December, and I've lost 15 pounds in 4 months. And I feel horrendous.
And Weight Watchers, we never could keep it off, and we always felt deprived.
Yeah, and under this, I eat as much as I want, and I'm enjoying it. I feel great.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you,
Okay.
Keith.
Yeah.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, Neil. So I'll give a few other testimonials. So when I travel, I'm having dinner with customers and representatives, and I get to hear about some of their health issues. And you know, this is not a diet. This is a way of eating. This is a lifestyle. So I've had the good fortune to be able to help a number of folks improve the trajectory of their health. And one in particular, fellow that had a brain tumor. And obviously that's very concerning. And he was undergoing the regular treatment, the chemotherapy and radiation, and was contemplating going on a ketogenic diet. And I said, well, you really don't want to do that. I said, let me give you some information. And his wife is a doctor, and so they looked everything over and made the decision to follow this whole food plant-based eating program. And I'm happy to say that his tumor, last I heard, was completely gone, and he's mostly doing quite well. And his wife took the diet as well, and her cholesterol dropped down to like 135, which is, if you're below 150, you're supposed to be heart attack proof. That's the ideal goal for total cholesterol. And so so that was one. I've also been aware of another engineer in California that had pancreatic cancer, and he was dying. He had tried everything, all of the, since this hasn't warmed up, I'm going to flip them one more time to make sure they're good and cooked. He'd tried all the conventional, and a friend of mine told him about the China study, and he went on the program, and it worked. 10 years later, he's still alive. So pancreatic cancer is one of those really deadly ones, too, that is very difficult to reverse. And then I've got another great friend in California that I had dinner with 6 months ago, and he said, look, I've got high blood pressure. And I said, well, I can help you with that. And so he's been calling me up, and his blood pressure has dropped dramatically. He feels great. He's dropped weight. Why haven't I heard of this before? That's the question everyone asks. Why haven't I heard of this before? And I'll explain some of that here in just a little bit in my presentation. So from here, you just take these off. I like to stack them, and then just cover them up with a towel to try to keep warm. And at this point, I'm going to turn this off. And pressure has dropped, so we're on good timing. Hopefully, I'm not overwhelmed here. Yeah. 3 pounds is a very full pressure cooker. You can see it barely in the camera there. So, okay, great. If I can, I've got a little cup here. I'll try to ladle that into my. Let's see if I can move. That would be great. Thank you. Be careful. Let me set it down. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So the thing I like about this meal is, even though there's, in the kale salad, there's quite a few ingredients, it's not too complicated. And tortillas are a whole grain finger food that you can easily, put all sorts of things into to add a little extra nutrients to your diet. So the chickpeas, now that they're done, I'm going to put these into the food processor. You want a little bit of the liquid, but not too much. That's about enough. Okay. From there, we're going to add a half a cup of the tahini, sesame tahini, which is nothing but ground sesame seeds. Just got this from Kroger, but there's different brands out there. And I'm going to also add an ingredient that's not usually put into hummus, which is a little curry. Curry has turmeric, which is high in curcumin, which is an anti-inflammatory. It's one of those spices eaten in that a lot of Indians consume. It's a blend of, curry is a blend of spices, so it has turmeric plus a lot of other spices in it, and there's different blends that you can buy. This again, ordered from you got different cameras there, but I'm not advocating one way or another. This is just a bulk curry, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of smoked paprika in here. About a teaspoon. And the juice of 2 lemons. I'm sorry, 1 lemon. I got 2 different things going here. And that's it. So you can do different. I'm going to probably put a little. I like a little nutritional yeast in there too. If you're not familiar with nutritional yeast, this is a great additive for tofu. If you make a tofu stir fry, if you're having trouble getting off of cheese and eggs, this is your ticket. My wife found that grilling tofu strips dipped in nutritional yeast completely replaced her desire for eggs. But we eat this on lots of different things. It's high in vitamin B's, vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, B6, folate is another key ingredient that it's got.
Keith, our family loves nutritional yeast on our popcorn instead of cheese.
Yep. It's great on
amazing
popcorn.
on popcorn.
To get it to stick to the popcorn, though, you got to put a little oil in there.
We just lick them all.
All right. So we'll drop this on here. And off we go. Well, do I have power? Oh, do I?
They did this to us the first night too. Don't worry, it's wonderful.
It worked fine for the tortillas.
Oh, just can't stretch it.
Here. That's a problem easily solved.
Now try it.
So depending on whether you want a little chunky or a little more homogenized, it depends on, but that's about the way I like it. And so that's it. Easy peasy. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the hummus into. Okay. Yeah, we can scoop it. We can, however you want to do it. If you can do that, and then so we'll put the hummus on the tortillas, and we got plenty of them here. So use as many as you want. And then on top of that, we've got chopped up cucumber, peppers, and some fresh mint, and tomatoes. So in the back. So that's it for the meal, and it's an easy dish. It's one of our family favorites to eat the kale salad. Our favorite is kale salad, a vegan cornbread dish that we got from an Afro-vegan cookbook that has all these wonderful spices in it, including pecans and different things. But and then black beans. So just 3 simple things. You don't have to get too fancy, and you're very satisfied. So at this point, I guess we're ready to move towards serving.
Let me make one more batch of hummus, and we can definitely do that. Pastor Bob, can you say the blessing?
Okay, let's bow our heads. Loving Father in heaven, we thank you for the myriad of spices and tastes that you've created, and for the blessing of health that we can achieve as we just simply eat of the natural things that you created for us in great variety. So bless this food and our time together, and we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Some people about this diet
To all the live streaming people, we will be back after we eat.